Hey guys, we are in the basement. Today we're going to do part number 2 of our Time Pilot Restore. That's right, this is going to be the second part in our Time Pilot Restore series. And in this video, we're going to start doing some work. That's right, we're going to start taking this game apart and we're going to start cleaning it up and just kind of refurbishing it. And I say refurbish because this restore is a little bit different than the Gyrus one because there's a couple goals in mind here with this restore. I think number one is that I want to kind of maintain as much as possible the original game, because this game was in somebody's house for 25 years, and you know what? It's really in not that bad a shape. However, it is showing its age, okay? It's dirty, it's rusty, it doesn't function as well as it once did. So we're gonna go through the game, and we're gonna really make it playable and enjoyable. We're gonna make the monitor look good, the controls great. We're gonna get rid of all the ugly rust, which just is not, no matter what, that rust does not look good. I'm sorry. Even if the game, if you're trying to like say, oh, it's patina, rust for me is bad. Rust has to go. So we're gonna take care of stuff like that. And, because I want this game to stay original, and also, I'm trying to do this on the cheap. I don't want to spend a shitload of money restoring this game because, quite frankly, it's not worth it. This is not an uber rare game. It is a good game. It's a classic game. But you know what? This is not a game you want to spend a lot of money on, So we're going to make it look really nice, really playable. And you know what? We're going to maintain the original aspect of the game. And you know what? When we get done, trust me, I'm going to be proud of it, and you're going to be proud that you were here with me. Right. So anyway, why don't we go to the garage, and why don't we get to work on Time Pilot? Okay guys, here it is. Here is the Time Pilot. And yeah, we haven't done any work since the last video. So we're going to start today really by taking the whole game apart and just really starting to clean it. The one thing I wanted to do first, which is kind of trivial though, is I wanted to replace the coin door light bulbs. I don't know why, it's just kind of bugging me. They're sitting there not lit, and so we're gonna change them. And there's a couple things you need to know about changing the bulbs on a coin door, because you're gonna encounter most likely one of two voltages at the coin door. It's either gonna be 5 volts or it's gonna be 12 volts. And there are different kind of bulbs. There are 5-volt bulbs and there's 12-volt bulbs. And oftentimes they're the bayonet style bulb, which looks like this. This is a 4-4 bulb, and this is a very common 5-volt bulb. And you'll find these actually all over pinball machines. And they're also used on 5-volt coin doors. And then also, you'll encounter 12-volt coin doors, and I use these bulbs right here. These are 1813s, and these are designed for 12 volts. And a lot of times, it seems like more often than not, I encounter 12 volts at the coin door. And if you're unsure, what you can do, you can see these are the coin door bulb little bayonets. And you can take your multimeter and put the positive on one and the negative on the other to see what the voltage is right there. Because if you put a 5-volt bulb on a 12-volt supply line, you're going to burn that bulb out within like seconds. It's going to burn really bright, and then it's just going to go out. And you'll go crazy thinking something's wrong, but in actuality, you put the wrong bulb in, even though they look exactly the same. Because look at, this is a 4-4 right here, and then this bulb is the 1813, which is a 12-volt bulb, and it looks exactly the same. It's got the same kind of bayonet style and everything. But they look exactly the same. They fit in the same socket, but they are not the same. So what we're going to do, I don't actually have my multimeter out here, so what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the bayonets, and we're going to actually just read what bulb is in there, and that should kind of give us a clue as to which bulb to put in. But if you did have your multimeter, you can, simply put it on there and read the voltage, and then you know exactly which kind of bulb. And sometimes you'll find the bayonet style bulbs here. Those are typically like 161s, I think is the number. I know the Neo Geo has that. They're not the twist-on type. They are like a bayonet that kind of stab in there. I should probably turn the game off. Is this annoying to sound? But all right, so I'm going to go ahead and just unscrew this. And the damn light keeps going on and off. All right, so let's go ahead and just get this screw off. You can also bend these back. I've done that before. I've done that like actually lots of times where you just bend back the bulb holder, but we'll do it right this time. All right, so we have the bayonet bulb holder here, and so we're gonna twist this off. You push and turn, and we can see here this is a 47. Now, a 47 and a 44 are completely interchangeable. I think the 47 actually draws less voltage, and so here's our 44, so we're going to put that in there, and voila. And because there was a 47 in there, we know that this was 5 volts, so it works, and that's good. Our wiring is good, and we just had a bad bulb there, and you can see the light is going on and off. I don't know if you can see that, but once I screw this in, we might have to kind of find the sweet spot on the socket. And this is a standard screw. It's not a Phillips, so it's really annoying to get in and out. But I cheat. I cannot live without this little screwdriver. All right, there we go. And she's in. Oh, look at that, she just came out. So what is the problem here? Is it the socket? Well, that's not good. These sockets are kind of crap. They go bad. And sometimes you gotta just wiggle it to get it in the right spot. And then it'll be good for years. Oh, man. Really? All right. So there they are. They're all lit. I'm not really that happy with that, though. I might have to revisit that if that becomes a problem, if those keep going out. But right now they're lit, and that's it. We just replaced the bulbs, and thankfully we had power there. Now I'm going to have to kind of clean up this. It's a little gunky and all that. So, all right, so that's that. The next thing I want to do is I want to get to the monitor, and I want to clean that off, and because it's filthy. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the control panel and start just taking parts off and just start cleaning this bad boy. So let me set up the tripod and let's get to work. Okay, we have the tripod set up. I actually turned the game off because that was getting kind of annoying. But all right, so to remove the control panel, it looks like we might have some nuts here that we're going to be dealing with. So I'm going to reach my hand inside and see what I can feel to get this thing off here. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And yeah, we have some thumb screws that we're just undoing, and looks like there's just 2 maybe, huh? So let's get, here comes one. I can't wait to clean this monitor. All right, there's one. Oh God, there's cobwebs all over me. This is a very cobwebby game here. Okay, so that's that, and you can see inside the game there we've got the control panel open, and it was just these 2 little thumb screws that were holding it on, and I'm going to drop these into the coin bucket so I don't lose them. So let's go ahead and lift off the bezel. And wow, that actually, God, that cardboard the cardboard bezel under the Plexi looks actually really nice. And I would never have known that because the Plexi was so filthy, but look at that. That's in pretty good shape, actually. So go ahead and put this over here. Okay, so here's our monitor. And remember, the picture looked really cloudy and crappy. Well, I suspect it's because of this. Look at this. Yeah, that thing is filthy. So there's another cardboard bezel here that is, well, it looks like it's held on with duct double-sided tape. I'm a little afraid to remove this. Yeah, let's just go for it. So we're gonna have to reapply this because it's double. It's got double stick tape here on the bottom holding it in. I don't really want to ruin it, but I'm carefully trying to lift it off. And when we put it back on, we're just gonna have to use some hot glue or something. But it's in good shape though, which is nice. So, and we'll wipe that down with a little bit of Windex. So, all right, so let's go ahead and put this over here. So now we need to basically clean this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some Windex and some paper towel. And I'm doing this with the game off. It's probably a good idea to not be spraying Windex on a monitor that's on, although I have done it. So let's get this before it gets too low. And I bet you if we turn that game on, oh, look at this. Holy cow. Yeah, this is about 20, I bet you almost 30 years of just grime. I bet you this monitor has not been cleaned since it was made. And there's like almost a stain down here. What is going on here? Is that? There's like a weird discoloration. You can see there is a little bit of burn, but can't really notice it when the game's going. I've never seen any kind of discoloration like this before that's down here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of brown in the corners. And I'm not really sure what that is. It looks like it's just, oh yeah, it's gonna come off. I just gotta scrub like hell on it. I don't know if I should try a magic eraser. This is the magic eraser. This is actually like, I think the Walmart brand. What is this? Who is this from? But Magic Eraser is like an Arm & Hammer brand or whatever, but this is just like the generic version of it. And I'm gonna go ahead and use this on the monitor in the corner to see if we can get that gunk off. You should wet this with water. I'm just gonna spray some Windex on it because it needs to be wet. And the Windex is gonna kind of make it soapy, but that's okay. Let's see, let me get some paper towel. I don't want to drip too much stuff down there. It actually is working. Yeah, this stuff rocks. And we're take some Simple Green now and spray all inside here and just clean it up. I think what I want to do now though, since we got the Magic Eraser out, let's try cleaning up the control panel here real quick, because this is kind of like instant gratification using the Magic Eraser on it. So what we're going to do though is I want to take the buttons off just so I can really clean around here. I don't really need to take the joystick off right now. We're going to take this off eventually. Actually, I probably should, because we want to clean underneath these bolt holes and probably refinish these. So I'm going to have to take this whole thing apart. Do we do this now? Yeah, we probably should. So I'm going to pull the control panel off and we're going to start to clean it. I think I'm going to get my vacuum too and just get all these cobwebs out of here and then go through the whole thing with Simple Green too. But for now, why don't I start taking the control panel off, and then we're going to just start basically stripping it so that we can clean it with Simple Green. And I think that this joystick, God, you know, the joystick's actually not bad, but I'm going to take it apart and just rebuild it though, just because. So, all right, let's go ahead now. You can see here, we've got some big Molex connectors right here. That connect to the control panel, and I'm going to have to actually break off these quick connects because there's no other way to unplug this. So yeah, we've got a ground wire that's going to the inside here. This is a ground, and we've got some Molexes over here. So we're going to have to undo these connectors. Actually, it's stapled to the wall. All right, and we've got another one down here. But there's really no easy way to Yeah, I'm gonna have to just snip these and then undo it. So let me get my my side cutters and let's go ahead and do that. Alright, if you guys can see here, there's actually this really annoying ground wire that is like wrapped all around this harness, and it's secured here, and secured in the back, and what a freaking mess this is. So I'm going to try to just undo this and just unwrap it, because I don't know how else to handle this here, because this ground wire is really on here, so crazy. Okay, the control panel is off, and basically I'm just going to go through here and just remove all the parts. I mean, that's a big part of just restoring these games, is taking everything apart, cleaning it up, putting it back together, and really that's it, because that's what we need to do here, because the only way to properly clean this is to get everything off here, because we really need, these are all rusted and stuff, so these nuts here are rusted, it's dirty underneath here, the buttons are filthy, so we need to get everything off and then clean it, so let's do that. Okay, actually, before I take this apart though, I want to make sure that I put it back together properly, because the wires here actually matter. Because, you know, we've got gray here for this button, white for that button, purple for this button, and then on the joystick we've got different colors for each of the different directions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to make myself a little diagram so that when I put it back together, I remember what to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and basically just draw the joystick here, and I'm going to label the colors, and the buttons kind of look like this. And we're going to call this the front. And so right here is brown and black. And here is yellow and black. And over in the back is orange and black. And by the way, the black is the ground. So every one of these is going to have a black. And then on this side here is green and black. And then on these buttons, it's purple and black and gray and white. So now when we put this back together, we have a nice little diagram here showing us what colors go where, and we can put it back together easily and we're not confused and wondering how it goes. Okay, let's take it apart. Okay, we have it all apart. I'm going to go ahead here and just put all my screws and parts in a bag so I don't lose this stuff. Okay, so here is the control panel, and you could see it used to be white. I mean, look at that. That was under the button. So we're going to clean this up with some Simple Green and with the magic eraser. I do have some flaking and rust back here, which actually bothers me a little bit, but I think we might just sand some of this rust off, because I'm not going to be stripping this and repainting this, because I want to use the original control panel overlay because it's in pretty good shape. Only issue here are these corners, but I can honestly live with that to keep it original. So I'm not sure what we're going to do about this rust back here. We might just live with it. This piece right here on my gyrus, this was missing. Actually, it was just so degraded. It's like a piece of fabric that goes over the joystick. I think it's kind of like almost like a washer to keep liquids out and stuff, but it's actually not in bad shape. So, all right, what we're going to do now is basically I just want to clean it. I use Simple Green or I use Mean Green. Mean Green I buy at the dollar store. Like, I mean, this is a couple bucks. It's basically like a different brand of Simple Green. It's the same kind of principle, but I love this stuff. This and Simple Green I use like crazy. I use Simple Green and I use Mean Green. Simple Green costs a little bit more. You can get it at Home Depot. I usually buy like the gallon jugs of it, and then this stuff's a lot cheaper at the dollar store. I think I get it at Family Dollar. It's actually really good, so I highly recommend Mean Green. So we're just gonna like spray this. I just nailed myself with the bottle. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this down, just to kind of get the thick stuff off, and then we're gonna hit it with the magic eraser. But I use this, like I said, I use Mean Green and Simple Green all the time. Look at that. So we're just going to get the heavy stuff off that Simple Green will remove, and then we'll use the magic eraser to kind of get the rest off. The finer stuff. Because magic eraser, it's like a sponge, but it really almost works like a really high grit sandpaper. And it's pretty magical stuff. But, you know, to properly clean this, you gotta get everything off. It just will not look right. If you clean around the parts, it's kind of half-assing it. So take your time, take the thing apart. Jeez, this thing is filthy. Kind of baffles my mind that this thing was in somebody's house for 25 years and they never cleaned it. I don't get that. I mean, I guess they had it in the garage. Maybe it's just years and years of dust and, you know, garage crap and stuff in the air that got all over this. But you can see already it's starting to look pretty great. And when we hit that, when we use that magic eraser, these whites are gonna pop. Okay, it's looking pretty good here, and so we got kind of the big stuff off with the Simple Green, and it's looking way better than it did already. Now we're going to kind of finish it off with the magic eraser, which is going to really get this kind of stuff that's really in there, you know, because this is kind of porous and the dirt's just kind of in the holes and stuff, and that's where the magic eraser comes in. This stuff is magical, and this is a store brand. This is Walmart generic brand, but they also have like the Arm & Hammer magic eraser brand, which is the original. The generic stuff works just fine. You're supposed to wet this with water and then rinse it down. I'm actually going to spray it with Mean Green, and we'll kind of have the Mean Green help us a little bit with the magic eraser. So I'm just going to kind of spray this down, and then we're just going to kind of go to town with the magic eraser. And, all right. Okay, I think we're done here. Let's just wipe this off. Probably should get some water and just rinse off all the Simple Green residue that's on here. But I mean, you can really see That is a huge difference. So, yeah, that magic eraser is just that. It's magical. But I think I should rinse this off with some water, and just to get all this simple green off of here. But let's look at that. Pretty epic, huh? Look at that. Remember when we pulled the buttons off, how brown it was right there? That's white. So that looks really good. Really, really good. Pretty happy. Right here, it still looks a little dirty. So I think I'm going to scrub that a little bit more. It's not as white as the other whites in here, but this is just a large surface of white area. So let's go ahead and maybe hit that a little bit more with the magic eraser. Alright, I don't know if we're going to get that any cleaner. It looks pretty good, but I could see a little bit of dirt in there, but we might have to just live with it. It's still pretty good, though. I mean, compared to what it was. Alright, I think we're pretty much done with this. I'm pretty happy with this. This looks good. This is going to look great when we put it back on the game. So that's that for the control panel. So now, you know, this restore that we're doing here is not. It's not like the Gyrus one, because you know we're kind of trying to keep as much original on this one. The Gyrus was so far gone that I really didn't have a choice. I had to basically move forward with new stuff, new parts. This game, I don't feel that way about it. I kind of want to really make it presentable and nice, but keep it original. Because I think that at the end of the day, that's going to be a better game. It's going to be a better collectible, to have a game that's all original but very nice. So I'm not going for the freakish restore on this one. And you know what? This is a lot cheaper. So when we get done, it's going to look good. We're going to be proud of it, but we didn't spend a lot of money here. So that looks good. These corners here are a little rusted. But you know what, we'll call that patine. We'll call that arcade patine. So, all right, let's move on. What should we do next? You know, let's take apart the joystick. We're gonna have to also address these metal parts here. I'm gonna sand and paint these because they're all rusted and crap here. And the hinge might be okay. We might just hit it with a little bit of spray paint. But I think right now, let's take the joystick apart and clean that up. All right, let me clean up the area, and then we'll sit down and take that joystick apart. Okay, we're back. Actually, before we move on to the joystick, I actually had to go run to the store real quick and get some more mean green because I was out of it. So I bought the gallon jug. It was $5.50. I think that's actually comparable to what Simple Green costs on sale at Home Depot, but I don't know, I needed more. And you know what? I was there at the store and they had the name brand magic eraser. And because I wasn't happy with the results here, it wasn't completely white, I thought I'd give this a shot real quick. I figured, what the heck, you know. It's funny though, I want to point out before somebody calls me on this, I was reading the instructions. It says, do not use with chlorine bleach and other household cleaners. So yeah, I was using mean green with it. I actually have done that a lot and have never had a problem, but I guess the point here is don't use bleach with this. I see no problem using the mean green with it or simple green, but don't use bleach when you use this. But this time I just wet it in the sink, and let's just see if this does a better job. And this is like the extra power one. So I figure, what the heck, let's try it. And it doesn't really seem to be doing anything. Yeah, I think that this stuff that's in here is gonna stay in here. It doesn't look bad, it's just, it's not as clean and white as the rest of the white, but it's such a large surface. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna get any whiter than it is. It still looks good though. Yeah, I'm rubbing like a madman here and nothing's happening. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna make a difference there. It still looks really good, but you can see it's not perfectly white all around, but it's white. I mean, before it was like brown. It was gray. It was ugly. So, all right, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. So, all right, let's move on to the joystick. Okay, so here is the Monroe Electronics Company patent pending joystick. And I'd said in my previous videos that this joystick is kind of special here. Actually, why don't I remove the wires here? Now remember, we made our diagram so I can safely just pull these off. And when you pull these off, you actually have to be kind of careful because there are leaf switches on here. There's 4 leaf switches, and these tabs on here, right here, these tend to break off, and it's not fun when they do, because if they break off, you're kind of screwed. Actually, on the Gyrus Restore, one of these tabs did break off, and what I ended up doing was having to solder it back on. So you got to kind of be really careful when you're removing these little quick connects, these spade connectors from the tabs on the leaf switches, because you can break those off, and those are actually part of the leaf switch. So if that breaks off, you're done. And the problem is that the leaf switches are hard to find. So, okay, we've got all of this off. Let's put this to the side. Okay, so here's our joystick. This is the Monroe Joystick. And what's unique about this is that it kind of has a full 360-degree movement here. Which is nice. There's no restrictor plate. It's all round. It's not like a normal 8-way joystick that has kind of 8 distinct positions. This joystick actually has, you can go all around. Now it's still an 8-way joystick because there's basically 4 switches, and if you go this way, in one direction you're hitting one switch, but if you go diagonal you're hitting both switches, and that's how you get the eight ways. It's up, down, left, right, and then diagonal, 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 diagonal. But because it has the full 360-degree motion like this, it's actually perfect for a game like Time Pilot, and also for Gyrus, because you're controlling the ship in a circle. On Time Pilot you're rotating it in the center, left and right, and so this is perfect for that. And then in Gyrus you're going around a circle, essentially an invisible track. So again, this is a very, very, it's actually a cool joystick, and if you have the wrong joystick in Time Pilot and Gyrus, it's not the same. You have to have this Monroe joystick here. All right, so this joystick's actually in pretty good shape. There's some rust on it here. It's actually working pretty well. The Gyrus one was completely seized up with rust, but this one, not too bad. But we're still going to take it apart and clean it up and lube it up a little bit. I'm going to use silicone lubricant, which I find is the best on this stuff. So to take this apart, we basically need to remove these 4 screws right here, and it's pretty straightforward. Now I remember on the Gyrus, these screws, yeah, they're in there good, and it's very easy to strip those. So I actually recommend using a screwdriver to break them loose. Otherwise, you risk stripping those screws with this cordless screwdriver. So I'm just going to kind of try to break it with my hand here. There we go. And then we'll finish it off with the cordless. Okay. All right, and that's it. This joystick's very similar to like a Nintendo joystick, where it's just a lot of metal parts. Actually, I think there's a bushing in here. The Nintendo joysticks, it's all metal. There's like nothing but metal in it. So you don't get any like nylon or rubber parts that wear out. So, okay, so let's take that off. Take that off. Take this off. I'm not really paying attention of the order here, which I probably should be doing. Now this, there is an E-clip in here, or a C-clip, that's holding this on. Oh yeah, I remember now. So there's a clip in between here, and we got to get that out. So I need some kind of thin screwdriver to kind of push it out. Let's see if we can get in there with this. Yeah, okay, so now we can grab it over here with my pliers. Okay, so there's our clip, and we don't want to lose any of these parts. And then once that's out, you can get to the other one by pushing this down. Ah, this joystick is a bitch, isn't it? So we got to push this down and then grab the other clip that's holding it in. And it's easier said than done. Wow. This is a bitch. Alright guys, we are back, and you know what? I have just spent a half hour trying to get this off. I had my wife involved. I stabbed myself with a screwdriver. This will not come off. And you know what? I'm afraid that if I do get it off, I'm never going to get it back on. Because what's happening here is we have to push this down and then pull the C-clip off. And I tried the vise. I tried everything. I was pushing down on with a screwdriver, and I stabbed my finger. You know what? At this point, it's just not worth it. And honestly, I'm looking at it. I don't think I'm going to be gaining a lot by removing it, because this isn't in as bad a shape as the gyrus was, because the gyrus, this stuff in here was all rusted and seized up. This one's actually pretty good. So I think I'm going to clean it up with some silicone spray. I might throw a little... I think I'm just going to use silicone spray. You don't really want to use like a WD-40 or liquid wrench or anything, or really anything that's thick, that's going to like collect dust and stuff. I prefer to use like a silicone spray. And I think we're going to do that. I'm going to take some sandpaper and clean this up and clean that up. And you know what? I'm sorry I failed you here, but I had to just give up. Because, I mean, I'm bleeding. I can't, it just would not come off. And I don't know what the trick here is. And I don't know what magical tools they had, but I cannot get this compressed enough to pull that C-clip off. And like I said, on the gyrus, I did not have nowhere near the trouble taking this apart. But this time around, I don't know, man. Maybe this thing's in better shape, and the spring is not as worn, whereas on the gyrus it was. And I suspect that's what it is, because this game, again, lived in someone's house for a long time, so I don't think it got played nearly as much if it was in an arcade. So I think the spring on here is just putting so much tension on this that I cannot overcome it. So, alright, sorry. But you know what? We're still going to make the joystick better than it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like spray the heck out of it with... Actually, I should probably sand it first, to be honest. So I'm going to take some sandpaper, and I want to just get this surface rust off here, and I want to carefully get the rust off in here. I don't really want to ruin the plating because it has a nice shiny finish, so I have to kind of be careful in here. I suspect, though, that we're not going to be able to really overcome that, and we're going to end up with kind of a matte finish on our metal in order to remove the rust. And you know, there's a chemical out there that I want to try sometime that supposedly you can just soak the parts. It's called like a Vapo Rust. I definitely want to try that. I don't know what it would do to plastic, though. So we're just going to come in here and just get some of this surface rust off of here. Alright, so we're going to try this Dremel wire wheel to kind of get in there and get some of that rust around the edges that I couldn't get off. So let's see what this does. Okay, well, I sanded all the rust off here with my Dremel and this little wire wheel brush here, and it did actually a pretty good job. I got all the rust off of here. I went back in with some fine sandpaper and just sanded everything down smooth, and we got most of the rust off here. There's a little bit of blemish here, but I think that's okay. It looks all right. It's you won't be able to notice it as much, and it's not rust, which is good. So the next thing I want to do here, I basically just want to lube this guy up, and I'm going to use some silicone spray. I always use this on joysticks. You don't want to use anything else because it basically can attract grease and stuff. And so I'm just going to spray some of this in here. I'm kind of making a mess, but that feels pretty great. And I'll just wipe off the excess of a paper towel. You should probably do this with that little red tube thing that comes with it, but I don't know where the heck that went. It comes with that little straw that you put in the hole. Oh yeah, that feels great. I would have preferred to take this whole thing apart, but like I said, I could not get that frickin' C-clip off. It was buried in there, so. But this joystick is just metal on metal. And I'm just gonna. Feels actually great. And I'm just spraying the lubricant on the little ball that's in there. There's like a little ball. And we are making a mess. Alright. Yeah, that's like way better than it was. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up this mess, and we will move on to the next step. Okay, we got it all cleaned up here. I also went ahead and cleaned up the little rubber nylon bushing here. This thing was actually filthy. I used some simple green, and it looks great. So we're going to put this back together now. This is where it gets kind of fun here. So we got to... We need to actually lower this part right here and then squeeze the C-clip in there, and it's gonna be a bitch. This thing is really tricky, man. It's weird because I don't remember having this much trouble with the gyrus joystick, because I took that whole thing apart. So we gotta just lower this and then jam the C-clip on there. There we go. So if I can get my pliers to keep it down like that, and then we'll just kind of sneak the clip in there. Ready? Here we go. I almost need another pair of pliers. Let me see. Ah. Ah, shit. Is it on? It's on. I thought I threw the clip across the room. I didn't. It's in there. All right, cool. Okay, so now we just drop this guy on here, put this over like so, and then we screw it back down, and then isn't this fun? Okay, so there we go. We have our mostly rebuilt Monroe style joystick, and Everything's good. If you wanted to get really crazy, you can go in there and adjust the leaf switches. I recommend that you really don't if they're working fine, because you can kind of get them out of adjustment, and it looks like these are all adjusted fine. But basically the leaf switches, you know, they're like this, and you basically want them to be just like that far apart, and then when the joystick part hits it, it just closes it. And if they're touching all the time, or if they're too far apart, well, if they're touching all the time, that's bad, because you're going to be going in one direction all the time with the joystick. And if they're too far apart, it might not engage it, or it'll just take a long time or a really far throw to engage it. So you want to have it so that when it's in the neutral position, that they're just kind of parallel like that, you know. So, okay, let's move on. So the next thing I want to do is I want to clean these buttons. Now, normally I would just replace these buttons, but I don't have any on hand. And these aren't too bad. The white one's a little rough, but we're going to try cleaning them nonetheless. And these are the old style leaf switch buttons, or push buttons with the C-clip on them right here. The newer style that you buy today, like from Bob Roberts, he doesn't have the C-clip on them anymore. But the old school ones like these do. And to take these apart, you just pull this clip off, okay? And then this whole thing comes out, and then there's a spring on the inside. And then what I usually do is I take all these parts and I put them in a glass or a cup of water mixed with, I have a little bit of Clorox in here, some dishwasher or, you know, dish detergent soap, you know, just regular kitchen type stuff. And I'm going to add some Simple Green in there too. But we're just going to let those parts soak, and you know, maybe let them soak for an hour or so, and then we'll wash them off. Okay, we've got them all in our little Pac-Man cup, and I'm going to add some Simple Green to it as well. So just like a little cocktail of cleansers, and we'll just let that stuff soak. And a lot of times when you do this, you'd be surprised how great these buttons look when they come out of here. But, you know, these buttons are $1 a piece, you know, to replace them brand new. But sometimes, you know, having like really new buttons on an original control panel, they kind of stick out like a sore thumb. So we're just going to try these original ones first, and if it doesn't work out, then next time I place an order online, I'll get some new buttons. Okay, so what should we do next here while that stuff's soaking? I'm going to have to start doing metal pieces, sanding and painting those here real soon. I think right now, why don't we continue taking the game apart here? I actually want to get to the Marquee, and I want to remove that Marquee over here, and let's replace that bulb and make sure that the fixture up there is actually working correctly. Because it was not working before. And we also need to get those metal parts off, because we're going to start sanding and painting those as well. But let's get up there and let's get those off. And there's just like 3 Phillips screws on the top of that holding that metal bracket on. Sometimes you'll find security screws, but for whatever reason they didn't use those on here. It's just regular old Phillips. So I'm going to go ahead and take my screwdriver here, and let's just start popping these screws off. And we're going to have to start addressing screws soon too, because I'm pulling off a lot of rusted, crappy looking screws. These types of screws up here, I probably would just go to the hardware store and get new ones. But because you can't see these, so I don't care if these are going to be silver up here. They were black. So all right, let's see what's up here. We don't know. You know, I've opened these up before, and there's been mouse nests, rats nests, so hopefully it's kind of clean up here. Let's pull this out. And lots of cobwebs. It's gross. And you can see the back of the Marquee there. Not good. Yeah, that's horrible. So, okay, so I gotta vacuum this out because I'm not sticking my hand in there. So let me grab the vacuum, and I'll be right back. Okay, we have it all vacuumed out here, and so I want to just replace the bulb in the starter. And before it wasn't doing too much here. Actually, I'll plug the game in. You guys can kind of see what it's doing. Look, it kind of wants to start, but it's not. So obviously we've got an issue with either the bulb or the starter. You know, I don't know how old this is. This could be the original one for all I know. So I'm going to replace both of them. It's something that I do all the time anyway. Every time I get a game, I replace the bulb and the starter because it's simple, it's cheap, it's easy, and you don't have to worry about it for a couple of years then if you just do it right off the bat. So let me go ahead and grab a new bulb and starter. Actually, let's pull the old one out real quick here. Now this, I'm pretty sure this is original because it's still got the tape on here from the factory. So we're just going to take this tape off and just twist, and it comes right out. And you can see the bulb that they use. This is a very common bulb in arcade games. It's F15 T8/CW, and the CW stands for Cool White. This is a Panasonic brand bulb made in Japan. But this is the ubiquitous bulb you're going to find in a lot of arcade games. It's an 18-inch long bulb, 15-watt, T8 socket, Cool White. And then the starter is right here, and this thing twists out, and we're just going to twist it out and pull it out. And this is an FS2 starter, which is also very ubiquitous for these types of light fixtures. And, you know, modern light fixtures like this, they don't actually have a starter. So the older ones did, and so you need this starter. It's an FS2. You can get this anywhere, Home Depot, Ace Hardware. You can buy them online for about $1. Actually, there's a website called topbulb.com that I actually love, and you could buy these for 99 cents, and you could buy these bulbs for about $1.40. If you go local, you're going to pay a little bit more. Unfortunately, I tend to do this way too much. I'll go to Ace Hardware, and I'll pay the price that they want for them, just because it's convenient, and I gotta stop doing it because it's getting kind of stupidly expensive, because I paid $10 for this bulb, and you can get this bulb online, not an Ace brand, but just like a generic brand for about $1.50, and the starters you can get for about $1, and Ace wants $2.79, so it's a total ripoff, but whatever, it was convenient. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the new starter in. And I'm just going to push down and turn, and okay, so that's in, and then we're going to go ahead and put our bulb in. Get rid of that. And the bulb, you know, it's got these two little pins. Push in and turn. Okay, so let's turn the game back on and make sure the ballast and everything works, and we'll see if our if we're going to have a marquee light here. So let's plug it in. Let there be light. We got nothing. All right. What's that all about? I wonder if I got the starter in right. Huh. It's not lighting up at all. I see the starter lighting up. Oh, there we go. You know what? These are old fixtures, man, and you gotta find the sweet spot here, I think. It wants to go. There we go. Wow. Come on. There we go. Okay, so we got our bulb in. You know, it's an old fixture, guys. I had to find the sweet spot there. So if we're to put the marquee on, we're going to see that it's not going to look too hot. And oh my god, dude. Holy shit. That looks like crap. So, yeah, I definitely need a new marquee. So that is like top priority right now. because that is bad. So all the ink here is just pretty much coming off. And there is one thing you could do to try to save this. Is you know, this one's too far gone, but you could spray triple thick over this to kind of preserve it where it is so it doesn't get any worse. But this is already too far gone. I use triple thick all the time, especially on glass marquees. Glass marquees are actually the ones that usually flake. The Plexi ones tend to hold the ink a little bit better, but yeah, these Centuri games are kind of known for this. That looks like shit, man. I knew it was going to look like crap, but that really looks like crap. I mean, just look at this. There's like big holes in there. So if anyone's got a Time Pilot marquee, look me up. So, all right, so let's move on. I think we're going to just do one more thing and then call it a day. So now that we've got the monitor all cleaned and everything, you guys can see that the picture down here is actually pretty hot. But it needs a little bit of adjustment. Before it looked all foggy and stuff, that was just dirt, you know. We cleaned it up. It's actually a really good picture, but it's a little bit too bright. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. I'm going to show you guys the controls on the monitor. And we basically have, on the flyback, there's two knobs back there. We've got the, I'm all tangled up here. There is, let's go back here real quick. And then on the flyback, and the flyback is right here, okay? And we've got two knobs, and they're labeled. One says focus, the other says screen. Now, screen is the brightness, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of turn it down just a smidge there. And we're going to go up front here and see if it looks any different. And did I turn it the wrong way? So let me go back here. I'm just going to kind of turn it and peek my head over the monitor to see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to turn it down until it's kind of black. And since I'm back here, I'm just going to kind of adjust the focus. All right, let's go to the front here and see how it looks. And it's too dark. It's always good to do this with a mirror, too, because I can't really see too well. Let's go up front. Ah, that's looking better. So it's kind of bright out here, but if you guys can see that, the picture is not as bright as it was. It actually looks pretty good. So, you know, once I get this in the basement or at night, it's actually better to adjust the monitor in the dark or just with low light, because right now it's too bright in the garage to really see what's going on. But I can tell already it looks really good. The picture's actually great on this monitor. So, and then if you wanted to, you could adjust the colors, and you do that on the neck board over here. The neck board, which is this board right here, has adjustments for red, green, and blue, and then red and green, green and red drive. And I usually just kind of crank them up just a little bit, because I kind of like the colors really rich. I'm just going to turn them up just a smidge from where they are. And we go front here and just kind of take a look. And our colors are looking pretty good. There's a little too much blue I can see. So let's turn the blue down a little bit, which is this one. And yeah, that's looking really sharp. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for today. In the next video, we're gonna probably clean the rest of the cabinet and start stripping and painting metal. And then we're also gonna install the high score save kit on the PCB, which is gonna require us burning some ROMs and all that. And then we'll probably put the control panel back together and look at these buttons. I'm gonna let these buttons soak for actually a day, because I can't really use the buttons today. I don't see any harm in just letting them keep going. So, all right, guys, that's it for part 1, or actually part 2 of the Time Pilot Restore. Hope you guys are enjoying these little restore videos. I know this one is kind of a light restore, but nonetheless, hopefully you guys found some information useful here. So, all right, let's go back down to the basement. All right, guys, there you have it. That was the Time Pilot Restore part number 2. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. You know, I release new videos every Sunday. It is true. And if you click that subscribe button, you will get an alert when I upload a video. And you know what? You want to do that because you want to keep up with these videos. And so go ahead, click that subscribe button now. And also check out my podcast. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the All Games Radio Network, I do a live podcast. That's right, 9 p.m. Eastern at allgames.com. The podcast is called Video Game Outsiders. Our website is videogameoutsiders.com. All right, guys, that is it. We will see you next time. Have a great week, and thanks for subscribing. Later.